But before then, he was vice president of the Ghana Football Association. He's joined me on the line. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. This segment is called Point Blank. How are you doing?
I'm good, Maro. Good evening to your cherished listeners this evening.
Good evening to you too. At what point did you realize that it was a lost case for the Black Stars during this qualification, or from the beginning or from the onset you could sense that we were not going to be up to any good?
Well, I think that when we didn't do well in our first two matches, I thought that the last four matches, the managers of the Black Stars will plan things well. I don't want to really blame them for the first two matches because in football sometimes some of these things happen. We were shocked in Kumasi by the Angolans, and then we drew with Niger away. Those first two matches were a bit shambolic, but then the last four is lack of proper planning and preparation. If you look at the back-to-back against Sudan, having picked only 1 point in your first two matches, you then have to sit down and analyze the whole qualifying series, and then strategize to know where to pick points and where to drop points. You were so fortunate to be going against a team that plays away from home, and that is Sudan and Niger. You were playing against two teams that play home away from home. That is Sudan, who is playing away from Sudan. They are playing at Benghazi in Libya. The other one is Niger, who has also pitched their camp at Morocco. And so once you know that you are going to play against this opponent, you need to strategize to see where you can pick your points. So let's start with Sudan. If you look at how players were called and the way they assembled and reported to camp in itself was a problem. In the past, what did we used to do? You are going to play two matches in a space of 5 days. And so the reporting time of each of the players is very important. It's as crucial as the match itself. Because as you're already aware, you are using about 99.9% of a foreign-based players. So most of these players have matches over the weekends. So what we normally do is that you make sure that as soon as you finish playing your match, a ticket is arranged for you. You fly down to Ghana to report to camp. So you take the case of Juku. Juku had a game on a Thursday. He reported somewhere Monday or Tuesday, which is unacceptable. So were so many other players. So the reporting time itself gave the coach a limited time to train and then play the match on a Thursday. Now, when they withdrew against Sudan on a Thursday, the FA, knowing very well that you are playing against an opponent who plays all its matches on an AstroTurf, an artificial pitch, all the Sudanese players, they train and play their matches on an AstroTurf. Unfortunately for us, our players play on a green grass field. So what do? You either wait here in Ghana, take advantage of a lot of AstroTurf and artificial turf scattered in Ghana, use them and fly in late. Fly in late means that, okay, we played on a Thursday. We can do a recovery on an AstroTurf on a Friday, and then train on another AstroTurf on a Saturday. Then fly to Benghazi. We can even train on a Sunday and then fly to Benghazi on a Sunday evening. Then on a Monday, we train on the match venue, the mandatory 1 hour, and then we play the match on a Tuesday. But what did our people do? They stayed in Accra, did a recovery on Accra Sports Stadium, knowing very well that you were going to play on an artificial turf. Our people stayed here, did a recovery here, flew to Benghazi on a Saturday evening, so a whole of Saturday was lost. Trained on a Sunday. Monday they had an hour training on the pitch, the match venue pitch, and then play the match on a Tuesday. One, the Sudanese pitch is a bit smaller in size as compared to most of, but it's a standard pitch approved by FIFA. So all these things affected our performance in Benghazi, and that's how come we lost the game against because you could see from the game against Sudan in Benghazi, you realize that the 2 goals scored against us was as a result of our players failing to be able to run with their attackers. Some at one point, even the defender was falling. So these were some of the reasons why we couldn't match the Sudanese in their venue. Now, let's get to the other 2 matches. So having lost to Sudan, having picked only 1 point from Sudan game, now we were left with to go and beat Angola, and then also to beat Niger here in Ghana. At that point, qualification was not in our hands. Our destiny were not in our own hands. Our destiny were in the hands of doing the calculation. We win, this one lose, this one draw, so we can get there. And that is always difficult. Even if your opponent is doing the God's work for you, what is the guarantee that we were also ready to even win our matches? Let me tell you, Umaru, something significant that happened. When Ghana recently participated in the Wafu Zumbi Under-20 tournament, somebody who has managed the Ghana National Under-20 before, I was expecting to see the technical team of the Black Stars in Togo. Why am I saying that? All over the world now, youth players are dominating the senior team A. So I was expecting that Otto Addo and his technical men will be in Togo to see if they can see 1 or 2 players within the Under-20 who can augment his existing squad. I was expecting that. I didn't see that. So guess what? On a Saturday morning, I had a call from a radio station, and I said that I saw a young man in the Under-20 team called Jerry Afriye. It's just by coincidence his name is Afriye, but I'm not related to him. I don't even know him anywhere. I think that boy can play the Under-20. That same evening, I heard that they've called him. And then another player in Heart of Lions is a centre-back. Last season, within the Premier League, he scored about 9 to 12 goals. A defender, a central defender. So I told them that if Razak Simpson has been able to justify himself in Angola, Luanda, then I think that guy also deserves a call-up. So they call him. Then I asked myself, so who is in charge of the Black Stars? Is Otto Addo the one doing the call-up, or there's somebody somewhere sitting somewhere remote controlling Otto Addo? So this is where we are, and this is what has brought us here.
So the prognosis for you is not necessarily the boys on the pitch. That's not where the problem is. The problem is outside there. And even though the GFA headquarters, not the GFA, the coach may be the problem, but you are also thinking it can be extended to the GFA headquarters.
Of course, the GFA has to take the chunk of the blame. Because you see, why am I saying this? You see, in all these problems that they are talking about, Otto Addo, the first question I want to ask is, Umaru, Ghanaians, we truly have short memories. And honestly, I remember very well when Otto was given the job to coach the Black Stars for the World Cup qualifying, the last match against Nigeria. Otto Addo made it clear that he's only in for that short stint. Otto made it clear to Ghanaians that I have not come for a long-term project. He said it. At that point, my view was that if Otto was just coming for a short-term stint, then we don't need him. Because you see, immediately after the World Cup was another World Cup qualifying series, was another African Cup of Nations qualifying series. And there was also another AFCON ahead of us in La Côte d'Ivoire. So if you are bringing in a coach whose mentality is already made up, whose mind is already made up, that I am coming to help Ghana only to qualify and better my CV at the World Cup and leave, then why did we give him the job? Fast forward, the man leaves you, you give the job to Chris Shooting, and then Chris is sacked. Then you go and beg him to come and take the job. So why are we blaming Otto? Why are we blaming Otto Addo?
So the appointment of Otto in the first place was a wrong move. We should have gotten someone who is willing and ready to commit to the full haul, not someone who was coming on temporary basis.
Umaru, maybe you have forgotten. The president of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, in a video interview said that, Otto, when we come, we'll kidnap you. Yet still, Otto said, I'm not ready for the job. Have you forgotten?
So it's a wrong choice ab initio. Now, I'll come back to you and ask you how this can be fixed. But if you do have time, kindly indulge me. I want to go on the other line and speak to the former president of GALCA. I want to speak to Kojo Fiano, GALCA, Ghana League Club Association. Let me ask his perspective. Let me ask his perspective. So kindly be on the line for me. Mr. Fiano, you're welcome to Point Blank on Eyewitness News. Apologies, I think I do not have the GALCA president. I'll go back to him. Mr. Freya, so the issue of players. In the past, when you look at the players that we parade on the pitch, there's something about them. Why are we blaming management and GFA, but we don't really talk about our players? I get the sense that we really don't have the talent. Or do we have the talent but not managing them well?
You see, Umaru, in every generation comes its own players. You cannot be comparing the generation of the Michaelesians and co. If you want to compare that, then you should also be ready to compare the players who also came up within the very various federations. But Umaru Sanda, let me be very honest with you. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody can convince me that Ghana, we don't have the talent to match the Abochis of Niger, to match Sudan, a war-torn Sudan, to match the Angolans. What are we talking about? We are talking about a Ghana team that is made up of players in the Spanish La Liga. We are talking about 4 or 5 players in the English Premier League.
So we have the talent.
Yes, but you see, that is the point. It has to take a teacher to guide you to succeed. Even if you are smart. And so students. if you don't bring in a coach who has the face to be able to put the boys together to give you the results, you cannot be blaming the boys because they go back to your clubs and they perform. Let
me go back to Fiano, if you could just indulge me. Mr. Kojo Fiano, chairman of GALCA, Ghana League Club Association. You're welcome to Eyewitness News. Mr. Free on the other line, he believes that we have the talent, the raw talent, as a management that has to be dealt with. I was going to launch it at you and say, you are the clubs. Does it mean that we are not producing quality material to feed the national team? Why that could be the reason? I'm not sure you're going to accept that. What is your own diagnosis of the state of Ghana Black Stars today? Where did we get it wrong? Management, on the pitch, GFA?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Great.
I think somewhere along the line I lost you.
Okay. Do you get my question? My question is, what's your diagnosis of how we ended here?
Thank you very much. Let me say to your cherished listener, I just want to say that we got here because of gross mismanagement and not looking at the steps and then making the right decisions. Because we all saw the signs, and I think we all delayed in sounding the alarm bells because since this administration took office, we also what happened in Cameroon when we could not make it to the next stage of the competition. Then we came back and it was like, okay, let's go, we'll make amends with the World Cup. We managed to get to the World Cup. The result is there for all of us to see. Now we'll make amends when we go to Abidjan. We went to Abidjan and there was nothing to write home about. Then came the qualification for the next edition of AFCON. And this is where we have found ourselves. So I believe that if we are taking the right decisions after Cameroon, if we are taking the right decisions after Qatar, if we are taking the right decision after Abidjan, we wouldn't be where we are now. I think we delayed in making the right decisions.
So we delayed, and it's too late now. We have eggs on our faces. The question would be, this delay you talk about, is it the management of football generally in Ghana or specifically the management of the Black Stars by the head coach?
It is not the Black Stars alone.
Yeah, no. So I know we have a problem from top to bottom, but for purpose of this discussion, let's limit ourselves to the Black Stars, which is like the heartbeat of the nation, which is really in the news now. So at the Black Stars level, where would you, and we need to blame so that we can fix. So who do you blame directly now?
I think we have entrusted the administration of football into some hands. And the Blasters have the priority, being the flagship of the association. And they are failed woefully. Let me take the appointment of coaches. We kept changing coaches like we're changing our boxes. 5 years, I think 5 coaches.
With an unwilling one whom we forced to take the job.
Yes.
Who left us in Qatar and ran away?
And I remember very well, a couple of weeks, the very evening that appointment was made, I passed a comment on a platform where we have one of the ESCO members on. I described the reappointment of Otto, excuse my language, as baller. And the gentleman came back to me to ask whether I meant baller, and I said yes, with emphasis.
As in rubbish.
Complete. You see? So we have had times where the Blasters were described as GTP, meaning players from Greece, the Peter Folukwes, then you come to Turkey, the Sam Johnsons and the rest, then you come to Portugal. Even that, at least we go to tournament, we cross the first hurdle. Here we are having at least 6 players playing the EPL, playing week in, week out. And some in Spain, some in France, playing week in, week out. So if you cannot make it, then I don't know where the challenge is coming from. And I've already spoken about coaches. We've changed coaches like we've been changing our boxers. Now, player management. Are we saying that the players are being given the best of time? Yeah, you can say that, yes, they fly down in business class and stuff like that. If the director, if you are running an orchestra, and the director is not conducting himself, you think that why will give you the good things. And the man at the top, those at the top, who should do the direction, they are clueless. Because at least if they are not clueless, they should have found antidote to what went on in Cameroon through Qatar to Abidjan. So it's just that they've lost it. They've lost it. And that's why we find ourselves in the mess that we find ourselves. If 24 countries out of 54 are to compete in the next AFCON, and Ghana is missing out. We played Sudan, we gave them 4 points. We played Angola, we gave them 4 points. We played Niger, and we gave them 4 points. So, and we think that people should still occupy their positions when it comes to football administration. I don't think so.
So, shut down GFA.
I think that they should do the honorable thing by... I know that you'll find it difficult to do that because I spoke to 1 or 2 people in authority. I don't think they're interested in what is happening at the FA. So they know that at the end of the day, they will expect those in the football industry to take action.
Okay.
And they know that what action are we going to take? We may end up going to Congress. And you have congressmen who are already in the pockets of the FA. But that notwithstanding.
So you think they should resign on principle? If they don't, should the government step in and fire them or maybe shut down?
The government is using the taxpayers' money on these Black Stars.
Yes, so should the government intervene if they don't resign voluntarily?
If they don't resign, they should keep our taxes to do other things.
So government should stop supporting the FA? Yeah,
we belong to FIFA. So FIFA could bring in money for them to run the football the way they want to have it. But so long as government puts in money on our behalf,
they should be accountable to us. Thank you for speaking to us.
They should be accountable to us. Yes.
Thank you. That's Kojo Fiano. He is chairman of the Ghana League Club Association of Ghana, GALCA. Let me go back. Mr. George Free is still on the other line. Mr. Free, is a solution removing the GFA president and bringing George Free there? And I'm saying this one in jest, but what I'm actually trying to say is that is the change of the administration of GFA is that a solution?
You see, that's where people will be resigning honorably. You see, we have had a situation where we qualified to major tournaments, and we even placed third, semi-finalist. And we come back and people said that when it comes to AFCON, we want to win it. If you ask me my personal view, I know they won't resign. If you look at the body language of the FA president, even if you admit that something has gone wrong, and then honestly and genuinely he's ready to fix it, why not? Everybody is ready to give him the support. But trust me, the kind of leader that we have, he knows it more than every single individual living in Ghana. And so even suggestions for him to even change things, he won't do it. He still believes that he can do it with just a few of his people surrounding him, giving him all the ill advices, and then they can change football. Honestly, between you and I, from where we sit, because we saw this thing coming, we said it, but nobody wanted to listen to us. Trust me, even your local league, the local league, you need to make sure that your local league is so competitive that we can get players to draft them into the senior team A. But what do we see? A local league that you can easily predict the outcome of a football match. Is that what we want?
So corruption is also part of the problems.
Oh, of course. Well, talk to your Friday panelist. Before the end of the league, about 5-6 matches before, we know what is going to happen. All the predictions will come true. JJ, everything will come in as they will predict it. And so, honestly, I did my part because I know when we wanted to take over football from the normalization committee, some of us told the Ghanaian sporting public that, look, we need someone who is try and tested. We need someone who is not coming to do Matramakwe. The mantra Matramakwe it came from me. I said that on TV3. And that is exactly what Ketupreku is doing. Look, he came in with the national under-17 alone, which is supposed to be the foundation for our national teams. He's changed about 6-7 coaches. He came in, he saw Kwesi Appiah. He said where he wants to send the Black Star. Kwesi Appiah doesn't qualify to lead us to the promised land. He changed him as if he was going to bring a Mourinho. He brought in his assistant, CK Akono, manipulated CK Akono, and then brought in Otto Addo, and brought in Milovan Rajvan. Sacked Milo after the disastrous outing in Cameroon. And go and check all the things he said when we came back from Cameroon. The things he's writing today, those things he's writing today on his Facebook wall are the same things he said when we came back from Cameroon. Oh, we are going to fix it. It's because we came normalization committee, destroy our football, so we are picking it back. He said that in Cameroon. When we went to a World Cup and we came up within the first round, he said the same thing. We went to Abidjan here, we failed to win a single match. He said the same thing. Today we have failed to even qualify for a 24 nations AFCON. That is saying the same thing. We leave the judgment to Ghanaians.
We have become an embarrassment on the continent and in the world.
International ridicule. He has reduced us into international ridicule.
Should the government intervene? Or because of FIFA ban, we should just
if government is satisfied to be doling out money for players to fly, chartered flights to go to Angola, to go to Benghazi and all that, and this is the result they give you, and you are satisfied, they must continue to pay.
Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you, too.
That's George Friye. He's former vice president of the Ghana Football Association, GFA. Earlier you heard Kojo Fiano, who is chairman of GAUCA, the Ghana League Clubs Association of Ghana. That has been the point-blank edition. Before then, you heard former President Mahama, who is saying is a memo that has really brought us this low. That's why for the first time in 20 years, the Black Stars of Ghana have not qualified to go for the AFCON. Meanwhile, we hosted the AFCON in 2008. So, yeah,